Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. So in today's video, I'm gonna jump right into it. I'm gonna talk about the college football ranking, specifically 1 through 12. I may get into some of the other teams that's ranked, but I'm really gonna talk about the problem that I got with this ranking that the committee put out. A lot of this it just don't sit right with me. So I'm gonna jump right into it. The number one issue I will always have is Notre Dame. Shame on the NCAA and shame on the College Football Committee for allowing Notre Dame to still have an opportunity to be in this college football playoff. They need to be in a conference. I don't like that they're not in the conference and they get to schedule who they want. I understand, Notre Dame is a blue blood name and stuff like that. I just don't get why they won't force them to be in a conference. I think it was like in 2020 when COVID happened. And I think it was like some rule that you had to join a conference because they was going to do like conference only games and stuff. And that's how a team was going to get in the playoffs. That's when I'm like, okay, now Notre Dame has no choice but to join a conference. And not only did they join a conference, they did an agreement with the ACC. They basically shook hands and said, you know what? Y'all come join us for this season and then that's it. Y'all can go on about your business after that. I wish the NCAA or the committee would step in and say, no, if you agree to play for the ACC, you sign a 5 to 10 year contract deal with that conference and you stay. It's just a shame that Notre Dame is just in this conference. I mean, in this playoff, but not even in a conference. I just don't understand it. They just let them do what they want, and they let them get away with this. So I will be the biggest Notre Dame hater until they join a conference. I mean, a conference. So with that being said, number one is Oregon, undefeated. Don't have a problem with that. Ohio State. Don't got a problem with that. I feel like those two teams are the best teams in college football. So I don't have a problem with them two being 1 and 2. I mean, obviously, we all knew there was going to be 1 and 2. All right, number 3 is Texas. So I want to jump into this too, since I'm on the Texas topic. Everybody's saying Texas don't play nobody, right? Texas only best win is against Arkansas and Kentucky, right? So my thing is, I'm an Auburn fan, right? I'm an Auburn fan. But I'm a realist first. I'm a fan of college football before I'm a fan of my team because I'm just a big college football fan. So I'm not going to look at it as a conference bias, but I'm just going to state out the facts that how people who root for the SEC are just not only the SEC biased people, but ESPN, the talking heads and stuff like that. One thing I'm noticing is they're saying the SEC is the best conference in all of college football, which I don't disagree with. I think so too. But can we please stop saying, how is Texas ranked that high? They haven't played nobody. But when Alabama loses to Vanderbilt, oh my gosh, this is one of the greatest conferences. Anybody can lose to anybody. I mean, we got to stop jumping on both sides of the fence. And that goes for the SEC bias people that's looking at Indiana like that. I mean, we have to obviously we can't. I wish people, oh my goodness, I wish people would stop saying, if Indiana was in the SEC, they wouldn't be undefeated or they would have more than one loss. Or if Alabama had the same schedule as Indiana, I guarantee you they would be undefeated. But guess what? Can we please stop saying what if until they play on the field together? Please stop saying what if. Until Indiana joins the SEC, we will never see it. So please stop saying what if. If Alabama joined the Big Ten, then we would know. But they're not. They're in the SEC. So please stop saying that. We have to call the games on the schedule that they are. And we have to call teams in the conference that they are. I understand that Texas has a weak schedule, but they're in the SEC though. They literally had that tag on them when they was in the Big 12, and now they got the same tag on them in the SEC. I mean, what more do people want? Same goes for Indiana. They can't help that Michigan sucked this year. They can't help that I don't know, Michigan State sucked. I mean, they can't help that stuff. Michigan literally won a championship last year. So they thought that was going to be a quality win. Come to find out, they suck. Only got like 5 wins this season. So it's not their fault. We have to call the games as we see them that these teams are playing. They're in the Big 12. I mean, the Big 10. We have to call it like that. We can't just be jumping back and forth. Oh, they're in a weak conference. Oh, they're in a weak conference. They don't have the same strength schedule like Alabama or Georgia. I mean, they're just not. They're not. So we have to rank them accordingly per conference. I understand that Indiana don't have to play a Georgia, an Alabama, and Ole Miss, South Carolina, Texas A&M. You know, I get all that. I understand. But at the end of the day, they're playing teams in their conference. They do have to play on Ohio State, which they lost to. They do have to play a quality Michigan team, even though they're having a bad season, but it's still a quality opponent. So we have to call it with the conference that they're in and the opponents that's in the conference. So that's my big issue when I think about Texas. So I don't have a problem with Texas being at 3. Penn State at number 4. I don't think they should be at number 4. I think they should be bumped down a couple more spots. Simply, I mean, their best win. Who did they beat? I can't think of it off rip, but they struggled against Bowling Green, and I think the loss was to Ohio State, if I'm not mistaken. Ohio State. So I would bump them down, and they lost, and they won by 1 point against Minnesota. So I mean, yes, a win is a win, but they're just barely squeaking by. So I would just bump them down a couple spots, but not too low, maybe like 2. So yeah, Penn State at number 4. Notre Dame at 5. Like, I went on a rant about them. I just don't think they should be ranked at all. If I was a committee person, I would still rank Notre Dame in the playoff, but I would put an asterisk by their name, and it will be another team right beside them. The team that's right beside them are the ones that's going to go to the playoff in their spot. I'm just showing Notre Dame, if you join a conference, this is where you will be. So I just don't think they should be ranked at all. I don't think they should be in the playoff at all until they join a conference. So that's my take on that. Miami at 6. I think that's a good spot, even though they got 1 loss to Georgia Tech. I mean, I don't got a problem with that. I mean, they're going to go to the conference championship and potentially play SMU more than likely, and that'll probably be a high-scoring game, but I don't got a problem with that. All right, number 7, Georgia. I don't have a problem with Georgia being that low. I think they should be a little bit higher, but I don't have a problem with them being at 7 because they did get mollywopped by Ole Miss. So Georgia's one of them teams. If Carson Beck just plays better, they would win more games. But when I watch Georgia play, it's kind of like when you watch Georgia, the one thing you think about is defense and them running the ball. And they've really been up and down with both. I mean, when have you ever seen last year Carson Beck throwing for like 300 yards, having 300-yard passing games? When have you ever seen Georgia throw the ball like that? So that Georgia team been a little bit up and down, but I don't have a problem with them being at 7, but it is what it is. Tennessee at 8, don't have a problem. SMU at 9, don't have a problem. All right, 10, Indiana. With that loss to Ohio State, they would have been dropped way lower than that. But the only reason why they didn't, because Alabama lost, Ole Miss lost, Colorado lost, BYU lost. A lot of teams that were ranked very high loss. Texas A&M lost. A lot of teams lost. So with them only having one loss, that saved them. Other teams losing saved them from the dramatic downfall in the rankings. So I don't have a problem with them being ranked 10, but they just better be lucky that other teams lost. So the committee saw that. The committee saw and probably thought to themselves, well, these other teams that we had ranked high got 2-3 losses now. So we can't just put a one-loss Indiana below them. So we're just going to keep them in the, in the playoff rankings, which don't have a problem with that. Boise State, don't have a problem with that. I still think the committee is just disrespecting them. And I kind of don't blame them in a sense because they've been having like a lot of close games against teams that they should be blowing out. Granted, Boise State is a really good team, and they've had history of being great teams, competing with Oklahoma, competing with these blue blood teams, especially with Oregon. I forgot they lost like by a touchdown against Oregon. So they have the pedigree to compete with these top teams. They can compete with them. Don't let I feel like I'm the type of person. Do not let Boise State fool you with the Wyoming close game, the San Jose State close games in their conference. Do not let that fool you because if you line up against them, they're going to give you their all. They're going to give you their all no matter what. They're going to play you hard. So that's why I don't have a problem with them ranked. But I don't blame the disrespect because you had a close game against Wyoming, San Jose State. But then again, when you turn the page and look, if you go back in time a couple weeks ago, like 2-3 weeks at the beginning of the season, they lost to Oregon by 1 touchdown, I think. So I don't have a problem with them being ranked at 11, but I can see where the committee is coming from with that part. All right. So Clemson. Okay, this is where it's about to get juicy. Clemson at 12, Alabama at 13, Ole Miss at 14, South Carolina at 15. So Clemson. See, this is the run I'm about to go on with the committee right here. You want people to schedule harder teams, but when they lose to these teams, they get punished for it. But the teams that run away from scheduling hard teams who have easy schedules, you reward them for being undefeated, for having a cupcake schedule. And for instance, Texas strength of schedule is not that strong. It's up there, but it ain't really up there. So why does Clemson have to get, the backhand? Oh, yeah, even though you schedule Georgia, that's the good part about y'all schedule. Y'all schedule Georgia, but y'all got blew out, so we're gonna boot y'all to the side. But the committee got to understand Georgia probably would have did that to anybody in that one game, the first game of the season in Georgia. I think Atlanta, Georgia. I think Georgia probably would have done that to anybody that day. I guarantee you, if Alabama played Georgia that day, Georgia would have won by a lot. I guarantee you. So I just think the committee was a little bit too cruel to Clemson because the committee is just so back and forth. I know I'm gonna get off subject a little bit, but the committee is so back and forth, especially how they do rankings. They tell you 1 week it's strength of schedule, it's this, is that. Then the next week, oh well, we're gonna go off wins. The next week, oh, we're gonna go off losses. And then the next week, oh, well, that loss actually looked bad, so we're going to rank them even lower. Like, they're so inconsistent, and they go back on their own words each and every day. Each and every day. So they want people to schedule harder teams. But when they schedule harder teams, they get punished, and now they got a freaking bear crawl all the way up back to the rankings to even have a shot. But you got teams like Indiana. You got teams like SMU, Notre Dame, and let me get on Notre Dame again. Their best wins of the season was against Navy and Army. Navy and Army, they blew both of them teams out. And the next best team that they played was Louisville. They won by 7 points. Let that sink in. Notre Dame, best wins of the season was Navy and Army. But Clemson get punished for losing against Georgia. Notre Dame has not played anybody. They lost to NIU. So that's all I'm saying on that. I just feel like Clemson just got punished for no reason. But here's this thing with Clemson. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, they lost to Pitt. Oh, Pitt is just not that good. They're in a weak conference. Like I said earlier in the video, we can't keep comparing teams because of the conference they're in. We have to compare Clemson to what's going on in the ACC. And they beat a quality Pitt. I don't know if I said Penn State, but I meant Pitt. They beat a quality Pitt team that actually went undefeated, and they were ranked pretty high at one point. So Clemson, I think they lost. Their only losses was to Georgia and Louisville. But if you look at that Louisville team that they lost to, that Louisville team, the teams that they lost to were by 7 points. They took Miami to the Thriller, lost by 7 points. Notre Dame to the Thriller, lost by 7 points. And I forgot there was another team that played. It was another ranked team, lost by 7 points. So that is a good Louisville team. They're just coming up on the short end. So that's why I wouldn't punish Clemson that bad, because everybody keeps saying, "Oh, this conference ain't good, that conference ain't good." Well, actually look at what Louisville did. I understand that Clemson lost to Louisville, but Louisville almost beat Notre Dame. They almost beat Miami. They almost beat another team, which I can't think off the top of my head. But that's actually not a bad loss compared to a team like Louisville. So that's my rant with Clemson. I think they got disrespected very, very bad early on, and they literally had to claw their way back into it. So they got the opportunity to play South Carolina, and if they beat South Carolina, they give themselves a better chance of being in the playoffs, but we're going to have to see. This is the one where I can just pull my hair out of my head. This one, Alabama and Ole Miss. Alabama still has a chance. Please, somebody in the comment section, please explain to me why Alabama and Ole Miss still has a chance. I mean, like I said, I'm an Auburn fan. I'm not looking at this because I don't like Alabama. I promise you I'm not. I don't understand why they still have a chance. At this point, it's not even conference bias. It's not even SEC bias. This is brand bias. That's why this goes back. I promise you, this goes back to last year with Florida State. How Florida State got screwed out of this. Florida State did everything the committee told them to do. They was undefeated. They won football games with their starter being out, the backup being out, playing with their third string, still winning games. But the committee kept saying, "Oh, well, they're not the same team without Jordan Travis or Travis Jordan, whatever his name. How are they not the same team when they're winning games?" So you don't like how they look. You don't like how they're not scoring enough points. And that showed me right there that the committee will go back on their word. They don't care about this and that. They use the injury as an excuse. They use it as an excuse. They just gave them another reason why they should put Alabama in. They basically probably told Alabama, if y'all win, y'all are getting in. So they said that about Florida State, right? Stay with me. They said that Florida State team did not look the same without their starting quarterback. So basically they said, with your other quarterbacks, we don't like how y'all scoring points. We don't like how that offense looked. Even though that defense was championship ready and had NFL talent on that line and NFL talent on that offense, we just think that offense just don't look good. They're not scoring. We don't like the way they're scoring points. Even though they're winning games, we don't like how they're going to look because we want somebody in the playoffs that's going to look better, right? That's what they said. So if that's the case, Miro has been the most inconsistent quarterback in college football this year. I guarantee you, if you put Ty Simpson, their backup in, I guarantee you it will be a different change in that team. That's just me. I'm just saying it. So my thing is, I know I got off subject, but let me get back on pace. Let me stay on track now. Let me stay on track. Alabama lost to Vanderbilt. They went on the road. No, they played Georgia at home. Right? They played Georgia at home. The first quarter, if not the first half of that Georgia game, that was the best I've ever seen Alabama look this season. That team in the first half looked like the best team, the best offense in all of college football. Still, right now, I still think that first half of that Alabama game versus Georgia, that Alabama offense in that first half, that was the best offense in all of college football. You cannot, I promise you, right now, you cannot tell me that I'm lying. That was the best offense we've all seen this year. But after that, I've never seen that offense again. None this season. Alabama has been one of the most inconsistent teams with the most inconsistent quarterback and the most inconsistent play on both sides of the ball. You cannot tell me that. I'm not lying. I am telling the truth. They beat Georgia by 7 points. Mind you, Georgia came back on them. Let that sit in. Georgia came back and almost won or tied it up. But they won that game. Then the next week, they go and lose to Vandy on the road. They lost to Vanderbilt. Then they almost lose to a South Carolina team, which at the time, South Carolina, that was a little shaky. I'm not going to say South Carolina was bad, but that was a little shaky. South Carolina came into Tuscaloosa and almost beat them by 2 points. Almost beat them. Alabama ended up winning that game by 2 points. Then they lose to Tennessee on the road. Offense couldn't do nothing. And then not only that, they get blown out by a bad Oklahoma team. That Oklahoma team only won 5 games. They went to Oklahoma and got blew out by 21 points. That offense put up 3 points, right? Lost by 21 points. And the committee pulled them from 7 and put them at 13, right? Ole Miss lost to Kentucky. And I forgot who was that second loss. I can't remember. But their third loss was to Florida. A 4-win team. Florida beat them by a touchdown. Now they're a 5-win team. So you're telling me that Ole Miss is 14th? Like, how does Ole Miss get ranked behind Alabama? Alabama got blew out. Ole Miss lost to a Florida team by 7 points, which that Florida team is hot right now. Let it make sense, people. Let it make sense. Alabama should not be ranked 13th at all. Alabama should at least be ranked 15, 16, or 17. It blows my mind that the committee literally sat them at 13 and they still have an opportunity to get in the playoffs. Because look, the way it looks is that if Alabama and Ole Miss win out, they're going to pull each other into the playoffs together. They're going to the playoffs together. And one thing that annoys me the most is the talking heads at ESPN. Those guys at the on ESPN, Kirk Herbstreit and Greg McElroy and all them other guys. They were sitting there saying, "Oh well, Alabama is on the outside looking in. They just need chaos to happen. We don't know how it's going to happen. It just don't look like they just got a chance to go in." That is just straight bull crap when I hear that. When I hear them say it, that's just straight bull crap and that's dumb. You cannot sit here and tell me Alabama does not have a chance to get in sitting at 13. At the end of the day, Oregon will play Ohio State in the conference championship. The loser of that game is probably going to drop. They may stay in. They might stay in, the loser of that game. All right. Texas and Texas A&M. They're playing each other this coming up Saturday. And not only that, the loser of that game will more than likely get dropped out of the playoff. That's the loser of that game. Texas is 3. Texas A&M is 20. So if Texas lose, they will basically be out of the playoffs. And not only that, the winner of that game will go on to play Georgia in the conference championship. The loser of that game will be out. Not only that, Miami will play SMU in a conference championship game. Miami or Clemson will play SMU. The loser of that game will be out of the playoffs. Let it make sense. And right now, Arizona State is at the 12th spot, but they have to play their conference championship game. If they lose, they're out. So it is going to be chaos in this college football playoff. It is going to play itself out for Alabama and Ole Miss to get in. But here's the tricky part. What if South Carolina beats Clemson? Do the committee jump them? Because Ole Miss blew out South Carolina. They lost 24-7. So I don't know. Me personally, I think South Carolina can potentially be the first 3-win team, the 3-loss team in the playoff. But the way this committee is going, they aren't going off of most deserving or who earned the right to be there. They're going off of money, revenue, and which team brings viewerships in. And that's what they're choosing. They can say all this bull crap that they want to, but they know that this has nothing to do about wins and losses. This has nothing to do with wins and losses. This only has to do with politics, money, and viewership. Because that's all it has to do. If that's the case, why is Boise State at 11? They only lost one game. How does Alabama still have the chance to go to a playoff game? Well, to contend for the playoff with 3 losses and Ole Miss after the losses that they just took. I mean, at the end of the day, South Carolina can beat Clemson all they want. They're still not going to get in because the way the committee will go about it, they will say, which this is a theory that's floating around out there. They are saying the reason why Alabama still has a chance is because the committee still has Missouri ranked. The teams that Alabama beat, that they had them ranked. Right now, why is Missouri still ranked? Let it make sense. They should not be ranked. They said the only reason why Missouri is still ranked is to make Alabama's schedule look better. Another thing, why is Texas A&M ranked? Like I said, I'm an Auburn fan. We only won 4 games. We beat Texas A&M. If Auburn beats you this year, you shouldn't even be ranked. Texas A&M was 15th in the nation. They fell 5 spots and lost to an unranked team in Auburn and a 4-win Auburn team. Y'all lost and y'all are still ranked? Let it make sense. Let that make sense. I don't understand it. I don't get it. But it's the reason why they did all that, because everything is just going to play itself out. I promise you. That's how they want this to happen. They're choosing brand over who deserves it. They're choosing money over who deserves to get in and who doesn't. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. But I don't have a problem with 1 through, let me say, I don't have a problem with Oregon, Ohio State, Texas. 1 through 4, I don't have a problem. Maybe Penn State getting lower. Like I said, Notre Dame shouldn't be in it. But like I said, the real problem I just didn't agree with was 13, 14, and that was Alabama and Ole Miss. So y'all tell me y'all opinions. Let me know how y'all feel about it. Do y'all think Alabama and Ole Miss deserve a chance in the playoffs? Do y'all think the committee got it right? Do y'all think the committee got it wrong? Just give me your opinions. All opinions are welcome. But appreciate y'all listening. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Help your boy get to 1,000 subscribers. Hopefully I'll get that before the year is out. That's the plan. But yeah, other than that, I'll see y'all in the next one.